So we're going to have a bit of an overview of what's happening with infrastructure, renewable energy project in the States, and a couple of other things PRA is doing in that space. So I'll hand over to you to start with. What's the general overview here for people that are watching?
Eric, thank you. From our perspective, people might have heard of the Queensland government's energy and jobs plan, and in that plan is certain targets about how much electricity generation is going to be come from renewable energy, and how they're going to achieve that. They want all the jobs and extra benefits to regions. Mate, what we're seeing and what's come out of that plan is basically, there's like three renewable energy zones that have been established in Queensland: the northern, the central, and the southern. And within that, at the moment, you can see the rollout of wind and solar projects are going full tilt, and with that is with all the connection projects associated with the rollout of those renewable energy projects. And that's, you have some of the big ticket items. You've got the pumped hydro in the Burdekin Pioneer behind Mackay. You've got the pumped hydro here at Barumba, and they're the key platforms in that, and all the connectivities surrounding that. So really, communities are really starting to see and feel the impacts from this rollout. It's basically really starting to affect our property rights, and how it's been rolled out with not much thought, a bit of a brain bubble, these renewable energy zones from the state, and not much policy, I guess, work around that and the impacts on everyday rural and regional communities and their property rights generally.
And this is something that PRA is pointing out quite strongly, as well as other groups, which segues nicely into the next area about the work PRA and you in particular are doing with local groups, particularly out of Gympie. So do you want to share some of the work we've been doing there?
Yeah, no worries, Zach. So look, PRA has been very active in working alongside the three action groups that have been established in response to the government's a plan, proposals of three corridors to run these high voltage line, these 500 kVA lines through different areas around in the Gympie and western portion of the Gympie district. So we've worked with those action groups to get a collective going, to hold a rally in Widgie, to invite some politicians along, to give us more direction, I guess, how we're going to handle this and respond to Powerlink. Quite recently, last week, Thursday, just gone, they released their draft recommended corridor, and we can already see some of the issues rolling out with that. It's always been about putting these damn things on state land, Eric. There is a plethora of state land within the Gympie district, and with state land, we've also got issues, that they say we can't run it on a lot of national parks because it's filled with these endangered and vulnerable species. Well, that might be so, but when you look at the actual management regime in a lot of these state land areas, including national parks, they're a mess. And putting some of these projects in there would actually help with the management of national parks. So we're working through that process and trying to support communities, but there's not that much work by the state in addressing a lot of the social and economic impacts. They just touch on that. They don't really go into it, but talk about environmental, there's pages and pages, mate. So I think there's a real imbalance there. There's an overfocus on the impacts to address environmental impacts, but a lot of the social and economic consequences seem to be forgotten, or just, they're just paid lip service. So that's what we're trying to work with the communities about, and speaking out against this.
Just finally, what else is PRA doing to engage on these issues?
Look, we've actually chosen to have our conference in Gympie at the Show Pavilion this year. And that was a move to actually have a conference in really one of the epicenter zones of these renewable energy hubs, where people are really experiencing the negative fallout from the rollout of the solar and wind farms, if you want to call them farms. I don't like calling them that. And also all the connection activities associated with these projects. So we decided to have it in Gympie to get people that are actually feeling the negative impacts and have been involved on the coalface here. They've got lines being proposed running over their properties, living next door to solar farms, or living next door to wind farms. So we're going to have people there at this conference to speak directly with the people that come, and people can really learn what's really happening here. And I guess just the lack of policy and planning by the state, and to a degree, the local governments generally, and what it's doing to our communities, the fabric of our communities, and also our property rights. The other thing that we've developed just to help people know their rights, because there just seems to be a lot of people in the community don't know what their rights are when it comes to these types of infrastructure projects. So we've worked hard with people like a Tom Marlin Law in developing a glove box guide to give people high-level advice on where they stand, who's got the power, can they let people come onto their land, or in regards to resumptions, acquisitions, all that type of stuff. So that glove box guide will be due out in the next week, and that'll be made available far and wide so people can help them get themselves up to speed. And look, we're here to help people, and we're really pushing our members and non-members to come along to that conference on the 9th of 10th in Gympie in June. And look, I hope to see you all there. It's going to be a great time.